I'm like the only one here. Alright.
2003 Ford Focus SE Comfort. When you grow up in the United States, or more specifically in the southern United States, it's hard not to think about a car with more jaded history than the introduction of sliced bread. Except sliced bread was invented in 1928, and this compact American-made car was invented in 1998. This car is a 2003 Ford Focus SE Comfort Sedan 2.0 dual overhead cam VIN code 3. Why such a long name? Well, you're definitely gonna have to remember all of that info every time you walk into your local auto parts store to purchase another idle air control valve, not including the gasket for your Casper-colored Econoship box. Ford Focus, the official car for yelling at your oldest niece after running the red light at an intersection with no conveniently marked turning traffic signal, and the desire to drive around the perimeter at 3 a.m. after indulging into the $5 value box at Taco Bell. Focus, a code word for listening to the parental units argue about utter nonsense and the sensation to start a rebellion against all things labeled common sense and the first time ever encountering the smell of the devil's lettuce. So, 2003 Ford Focus SE Comfort.
Where do you get off at night?
The Ford Focus is a compact car that was manufactured by Ford in Europe from 1998 to 2004 and by Ford in North America from 1999 to 2007. This car was made as a replacement to the Ford Escort and Ford Contour, in which both of those cars were slowly but surely destined for the crusher ever since their incarnations. While the styling of the Focus was inspired by its European counterparts, Ford incorporated its new edge design into the North American version, in which James R. Healy from USA Today described as a collision of curves and lines. Yeah, sure does look like some collision of curves and lines, although I'm not sure if that's either flattering or embarrassing to say about this car. Plethora of trim packages, engine selections, transmissions, and body styles were available on this global interpretation of cheap and reliable, in which the first confab is true and the second is absolutely false. Cheap and reliable. An assortment of phrases spoken by the likes of middle-class accounting managers and a group of car enthusiasts who thinks VTEC is some mobilization of imaginary Japanese kamikaze pilots circumnavigating the inner workings of variable valve timing with left electronic control.
Here in America, though, our American civics lesson doesn't have VTEC. Instead, we have things like CVH and ZTEC and Duratec. Yes, nothing more American than having different four-bangers and 14 different trim levels to Dante's Inferno's slush box.
LX, SE, SE Comfort, ZTS, ZTW, ZX3, and ZX5 were just a few of the overcomplicated caboodles that you could purchase because it's 2003, and here in the United States it is perfectly acceptable to justify over-engineering when it comes to manufacturing a car bearing the name of a central point as of attraction, attention, or activity. In the realm of pathology, focus is the primary center from which a disease develops or in which it localizes. 2003 Ford Focus SE Comfort. The clear and sharply defined condition of an image of mixed round shapes with funky geometric ones and sharp angles, somehow making them work all together. 2003 Ford Focus SE Comfort. Powered by 2.0 liters of dual overhead camshafts rotating in an aluminum cylinder head with a cast iron block, making 128 horsepower and 135 foot-pounds of torque, mated to a 4-speed 4F27E automatic fueled by refined Galapagosauruses through multi-port fuel injection and water-cooled Final Fantasies. This engine, the Z-Tech, was made from 1991 to 2004 and was superseded by the Duratec lineage of FoMoCo power plants. Whatever car manufacturer's obsession is with naming their engine families after different letters of the Greek alphabet, the world may never know. 2003 Ford Focus SE Comfort. Brought to you by Where Is the Love by Black Eyed Peas and the urge to have a bowl of Applejack cereal at 11 p.m. because what else does the average 10-year-old think about in a world filled with Shimu stuffed animals and a yearning to want to be looked at as an acceptable human being at the moderate age as a decade-old incentive to the very first time of sitting in the backseat of a brand new car that your grandparents assisted the motherland into purchasing have a base MSRP of $15,165, but reduced 2 Gs due to a conversation of the grandfather with a Mr. Jackie Jones. This is the earliest memory of my parents having a new car that I can trace out into the 220,000 miles of a broken love story, followed by the beginning of an ongoing struggle I have felt almost all of my entire life of being an absolute failure to a namesake carved out by the welders of a glove that cannot be touched by a cat. And lo and behold, some Michigan born-again control blade class-leading multi-link independent rear suspension charioted you on your deathbed of Atlanta Medical Center for 4 straight days of drug-infested love and healing into the magnificent incarnation of the person that is writing this review, the Sanctuary of J. 2003 Ford Focus SE Comfort, the official car for the bold attempt to let go of a 1993 Oldsmobile Bravada named Lady for the Lady in Black, which compromised into the marvelous world of pre-adult wanderlust in the 4-wheel drive quarter-million-mile pile of GM's SUV trend-setting tendencies. To want to drive something that is more economical and maintenance-free isn't really free because you got this car for free, and you know what the best things in life are for? Ask Taylor Swift, she will tell you all about never going out of style and the distance equating to 9.16 revolutions of compression ratio required to circumnavigate this amazing planet called Earth, resulting in the life choices ranging from graduating high school in 2011 and going to 3 different colleges in a 3-year time frame, coming to the grips of wanting to incorporate skills into a lavish lifestyle fortified by the taste of berries and cream such fantasies sold at a retro-age interpretation of the Fallout culture in the early 2010s.
Oh yeah, Ford Focus.
Born out of the new millennium and sponsored by attempts at teaching a similar age stimulus package to lip-locking with the girl across the room in Spanish too, and then realizing that some people's interpretation of KISSING is nibbling onto the labium orisis, resulting in the mark of a young Scotty boy's face after receiving verbal assault of a polygamous world's dreams, ingrained into some psychedelic perspectives of songs written by Adam Young. So this car was purchased in 2002 and was driven 140,000 miles before being given the keys to this blue old Casper-colored chariot with more check engine lights than the average Volkswagen owner accumulates annually. Oh, but fuck it, you didn't give a flying fuckus about this car because little to none of that under-the-table money-making greed was invested in this sacrilegious attempt to duel with the likes of Corollas, Sentras, Civics, Elantras, Lancers, Cavaliers, and Prezas. I mean, the list goes on and on and on, but no!
This is America. All we got was a special vehicle team. And some tramp that isn't even remotely spec to you Euro trash from FoMoCo-loving blokes.
Yeah, we didn't get the Focus ST, the Focus RS, the glory of having forced induction magic grace inside the engine bays of late model Focuses until just this past half-decade. Why, Ford? Why do you wait until it's just a little too late to have sheer excitement you get when you hear a turbocharger spool up and fire magical unicorns into the manifold of internal combustion and exhausting particles out some welded bits of cylinder-shaped connections of NOx-collecting percolators and on oval-shaped tip of Richard Perry Jones' Child Services experiment brought to you by the Fixing or Repairing Daily and a side of cheesy Fiesta potatoes.
New Edge. Oh, I'll show you some of that New Edge, dear. like that rubber on the cup holders. Yeah, let's just chunk that out the window. Who needs rubber anyways? Oh yeah, let's just run that shit into some asphalt until nothing but steel belts are proudly on display on MySpace and Facebook.
Hey guys, I'm here to tell you from experience. Please, for the love that is all things bright and beautiful, check your rubber and wear rubber anytime you find yourself seizing the moment to experience the most intense experience of sexual intercourse, even if your dumbass isn't sober. Oh, but you were sober when you proceeded to lie to your parents about going to see a person you were explicitly not allowed to go visit. But hey, you're also an Aries, and your stubborn ram truck-headed butted step-parent and mother has experience in that too. But no, Jay, you play with fire, and you got burned so hard that the only way to cope with all this newly discovered stress and anxiety and emotions was to pick up a sandpapered covered wooden metal polyurethane wheeled contraption, throwing you into a world of rebellion and acceptance that couldn't be found in the crowds of jocks and nerd strangers. You spent 13 years of your life surrounding yourself into this INTJ's wet dream of a white four-door configuration of the second beginning of a young gearhead in the making. 2003 Ford Focus SE Comfort, a car for the guy who experiences a calling into video production and interpreting 1,000 pages of Atlas Shrugged into the amount of time to allow to develop depression caused by the mitochondriac is the powerhouse of the cellular device that allowed access to the multiverse theory and the sudden impulse to maneuver this 1.25 ton economy car on the outer and inner loops of Interstate 285 at various speeds. And all the abuse and wear and tear that this car endured was just all that teen spirit cooked up by the medic droid and pent-up angst that a young adult conjures up in a 24-hour time period. This car was the birthplace of one man's quest to take the automotive industry by storm in a time of American history known as the Roaring Twenties of the New Millennium. 2003 Ford Focus SE Comfort, sponsored by the Art Institutes of Atlanta and the desire to chuck a grenade at some Ponzi scheme money-grabbing toy produced in the bachelor's lifetime of student loan debt and realizing, hey, you have caller ID now, and you don't have to pick up the phone if you really don't want to communicate certain types of emotion over the airways of NSA collection agencies of documentation of some conspiracy to gain intelligence into what? Just what exactly are you people after? Anyway, so the transmission went out at 180,000 miles, and you got tired of investing your time into this car after being bit by a JDM bedbug. Ford Focus, a no-named saloon that endured 220,000 miles of a backstory about the future of car journalism being embraced in the modern era. We're 3 generations in with this Focus global car, and man, does the future look bright. We've got the RS now. What will those blue oval label executives come up with next? Until next time, go focus on. The end.
Ford Taurus. The Ford Taurus. A Ford product. Found the road dead, because that's exactly how you will be when you drive one of these.